gosh, I'm gonna start crying. I felt like it was like really important for me to hear that too. Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. My name is Caitlin Hill. If you haven't already subscribed yet, hit that subscribe button and like and share this video with someone that it might help. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. We're done. We're done. It's a new era, the end of an era. It's new beginnings. It's not the end of anything, you know, like I kept on thinking, oh my God, we're done. It's done. They're not babies anymore. But it's not, we're not done. It's not the end of anything. It's the beginning of something new. It's the beginning of a new phase, a new time in our lives and in our journey. And it's a beautiful thing. I'm so grateful that I was able to breastfeed them for 3 years and 1 month. I'm not going to forget that 1 month. But it was just such a beautiful experience, and I'm eternally grateful for it. That I was able to feed them from my body for so long. And, you know, I always thought that I was going to have to use formula with twins, and I was told that I was going to have to, or that I would want to. And yeah, there was some points where I really wanted to, and I looked into different formulas, and I just never found one that felt fully in alignment with me and my family, and just the ingredients just weren't 100% for me. And like, I'm all in on this. Like I don't ever want to compromise on anything really. And it just always felt easier for me to just whip my boobs out and breastfeed them. You know, when I thought about like finding the right formula, you know, having to warm up the milk, clean the bottles, you know, think about buying the formula if we ran out, like getting into that whole cycle, it just always felt easier for me to just breastfeed. And I actually at one point even bought some goat's milk to make my own formula. And I gave the girls, once I got the milk, I got quite a bit of it. And once I gave it to the girls, and they like were spitting it out. And so I was like, well, I'm not going to waste my time making this milk if they're not even going to drink it. So yeah, I don't know. It just felt easier for me to breastfeed, even with twins. Always felt like the best option for me and my family. And that's how we did it. You know, and I'm almost like hesitant to share how I stopped breastfeeding with them, because I don't ever want to interfere with any other woman's inner wisdom to know when it's time for them to stop. Like, it's so personal, and also I think it's really important to tap into how you're meant to end this journey. Like, maybe it's different for you. And there's so much information online. Sometimes it's easy just to like copy and paste what someone else has done. But like, I encourage you to tap into like what really works for you and your family and what makes the most sense. This is just how I did it. I always said that I would stop when they were ready to stop, and that it would be weaned by them and led by them. But it didn't actually go that way. And I think that if I had let them take the lead, we would literally be breastfeeding until they're 7 years old or longer. They had no desire to stop whatsoever. And so it was all led by me. And, you know, that wasn't what I had imagined that it would be like. You know, I really wanted them to take the reins on that one, and I wanted to, you know, naturally stop, just like how I feel like it's meant to be in nature. But, you know, I also realized that we're in a dyadic relationship, or triadic relationship, if you will. And that if it's not working for one person, then it's not working for the whole. And I just felt like in the end, especially in the last month of doing it, I just felt like it was physically becoming harder on me, and that my heart wasn't in it 100% anymore. And I just felt like I was ready to be done. And so I had to really honor that. And for me, I think it's important for the whole family to be in alignment and to feel good about the choices that we're making. And that, yeah, it just felt like it was time. It was time for me to stop. I couldn't imagine doing it much longer. And with twins, it was like they're like fighting over the boob. You know, like literally they would both always want the one boob, or what, they didn't feel like there was enough space in the chair, or it felt like it was like, okay, I think you guys are like, it's time, it's done. And so yeah, I mean, basically I really tapped into my gut around when it was time for me to stop. I actually, when they were 2, I think it was around then that I initially stopped doing breastfeeding on demand. It might have even been before that, because breastfeeding on demand with twins, like, is one thing with one kid, especially if you're out in public. If, you know, you breastfeed them, you know, whip out your boob and, you know, you can kind of do it like modestly. But with twins, to have, like, when one would get on the boob, then the other one would naturally want to get on the boob because they would be reminded of it. So to be like breastfeeding out in public with 2 babies, like, I'd have to have both my boobs out, and it was just like, guys, like, I don't want to just be like exposing myself out here in public. And so yeah, I really actually started that weaning quite early on. Yeah, like I said, around, maybe it was just before 2 years old, that I stopped doing it on demand. And I immediately weaned it down to that it was at nap time and nighttime. We weaned that morning feed early on, which is interesting because I feel like that was like that's like one of the hardest feeds to wean, but we did that somehow. That must have been, you can check out, like, I have another video of when I initially started to wean. I can't even really remember actually, because it feels like it was such a long time ago. But yeah, we started that weaning process a while back. And so just like having conversations with them about it, you know, okay, we're not going to be doing this feed anymore, and like we're nearing the end of our journey. Talking about like journeys with kids is, I find, really helpful. Actually, we went to go down to the fisheries, or the hatchery, last weekend, and we were talking. It was actually perfect timing because we were letting these fish go onto their journey into the river, and it was like right around the exact time that we were stopping our journey with breastfeeding. So I was like, see, like, they're going on their journey off into the water, and we're like ending our journey of breastfeeding, and we're starting a new journey into not breastfeeding anymore. And it was like really clicked for them. Like, they kept on bringing it up and talking about it, which I thought was really beautiful to explain it in that way. And also just the correlation between like Mother Nature, like there's so many like journeys that are happening in nature, just like what's happening with us. And so there was like a lot of conversations about like our journey coming to an end. But that really only started like in the last couple months. Yeah, so like slowly starting to wean the feeds, especially that morning feed would have been a big one to do. But I think a lot of it came down to just like that I would be in bed for like an hour in the morning breastfeeding them. And I was like, okay, we got to get up. Like, I got to make breakfast for Safia. And so I think there was like a big distraction there in the morning, which is getting up, getting out of bed and going downstairs and having breakfast. Just distract, or like that Matisse could take over and he could take them down for breakfast. Yeah, just like slowly weaning the feeds, or like shortening the feeds was part of it, like part of the weaning process, like gently weaning them. And then like just like having really clear conversations around setting boundaries with it, which, you know, when it was finally coming to an end with some of the feeds, it was really hard for me to say no, because I might have not been 100% ready yet. That's the hardest one for me. And that actually happened to me a few times when trying to wean them, was that I was like, thought that I was ready. And then I would set the boundary of like, no, we're not going to be breastfeeding tonight. And then suddenly it was like, they were really protesting, and then I would give in because I wasn't 100% ready. And I realized that that was really not fair for them, because their world is so small. Like, if you think about it, it's just been like mom, dad, boob, sister, like, you know, going out and playing, but that's it. So when you're taking something away that's such a part of their rhythm and their routine, you really have to be set on it. That's something that I will say for sure, is like, don't do the flipping back and forth, because I definitely did that. And I felt that it prolonged it and it caused a lot more like tears and heartache, honestly. So make sure you're done. When you're done, like be done, but don't go back and forth. Because for me, I was like, sometimes I want to feed them and sometimes I don't. And it's like, kind of got to be like all in or not, you know? And so, yeah, like when we were finally ending the journey, there was one night in particular where I was like, hey, we're not going to be doing booby tonight. And my one daughter, Rumi, she was just like, no, like was so upset. And she was definitely, yeah, there was a lot of tears. And it was just like clear communication. It was like, I was staying strong to it. And, yeah, I feel like with anything with kids, it takes around like 3 days for anything to change, like with sleep or starting a new routine or like anything. We always say we're like, just give it 3 days. And yeah, the first day there was protest, second day there was protest. And then on the third day, I feel like we just had this beautiful conversation. The three of us, we were sitting out in the garden and I just wanted to talk about it again. I just said, tonight we're not going to be doing booby again. And I felt like it was really landing with them, that it wasn't going to be happening anymore. And then my daughter Elio, she just looked at me and she said, I'm not a baby anymore. And I was like, no, that's right, you're not a baby anymore. And it was like just such a moment of understanding. And I feel like, oh gosh, I'm gonna start crying. I felt like it was like really important for me to hear that too. It's just like this time goes by so fast, and like there's moments that with breastfeeding where you're like, oh my god, this is so hard. Like, is this ever gonna stop? Am I gonna be done? And I just, it does finish eventually, and it's heartbreaking and it's sad when it does for me. Anyways, I don't know, some women might be like so happy to stop, and I get that too. But it is such an investment to breastfeed your kids, of everything, time, energy, putting everything aside to just focus on being with your children, to nourish them and comfort them and be there for them. It is hard to stop. So when she had that realization of like, I'm not a baby anymore, it was like, that's right, you're not. And that's a beautiful thing too. It doesn't have to be the end of anything. It's going into this new era, this new start of a journey where they're not babies anymore. And that their time, like I felt like she was just like really standing on her own 2 feet, and I already noticed like such a big shift when all 3 of my kids have turned 3, that there is just this space that seems to open up, this transition, where they start to step into their own self more. Definitely not being fully independent whatsoever, but there is just this like kind of breath that I feel I can take right after they turn 3. And I really felt that in that moment when she said that it was, yeah, it's time. And I feel like it landed, like they really got it, and I feel like I got it actually. And so maybe that was like the moment that I was really wanting and looking for. It wasn't how I imagined, but it was like so perfect the way that it happened, and the way that she came around to it. She was like, got it. And that was really special. I really didn't think I was gonna cry, but it's a huge change. Okay, I think I've processed that. So yeah, we are gonna be doing a ceremony together as a family in the next month, at my family's cabin. It's actually where we buried the twins' placenta as well. And we're gonna do a ceremony together to end this time that we had together, of breastfeeding them. And we'll honor it for what it was and talk about it and, you know, share stories and pay our respects really to this journey and to just really honor it. I don't think that it's something that should be disregarded or, you know, stopped or like in a way where you're not like having deep reverence for the fact that happened. So yeah, we're gonna be doing that, and I'm really excited to really close it up. And I feel like this is the first time that I'm ever really I've actually had the chance to really like talk about it fully, because we're so busy in our day-to-day lives that it's not like I stop and talk about it with you know, anybody. So it's I feel like I'm having a bit of a therapy session right now. But I think it'll be really lovely to have a ceremony just to like close it up all together and just like honor it for what it was. And I don't know what that's going to look like yet. I don't know what we're going to do for it yet. I know I've seen women that will pour milk into the ground and then bury it with, you know, flowers and stuff. And I don't have any leftover milk that I remember. I think it all got used up. If there was anything, I didn't really pump very much, but I did use the haka. Love the haka. Yeah, we'll think of something to do. And I'm excited to just like kind of close it up and yeah, and do something nice for that for the, you know, this incredible experience that I've been able to have. So yeah, we'll do that in the forest soon. And now like it's amazing how like adaptable we are as humans, because I just feel like things have just naturally evolved and changed. Like we just cuddle now, which is nice. It's nice. They fall asleep in my arms now, which is nice. And it's changed into this beautiful new thing where, you know, I sing to them and before going to bed, and we cuddle and they fall asleep in my arms, and it's just it's new now. It's new and beautiful and in a different way. So yeah, I'm very grateful that I listened to myself and I listened to what felt right for me and my family, and it's important to stay strong to that. So I'm really grateful that I did. Thank you so much for watching, and yeah, thanks for being here. Ciao for now.